hi. Just hi. That's it. Hi and stream. Walks away. It would be a something. It'd be a something. It wouldn't be a I mean, it would be a stream. It'd be a very short stream, but it wouldn't be a stream. Oh. I spent all of the time between last stream and now being like, yeah, werewolf, gonna be hype, loving that. And then in the minute before starting setup for stream, I remembered about Bartek, and now I'm like, ow. Hey, Cold Moon, how's it going? Also, I know this happens to me most weeks, so at this point I'm like, is this even a thing or is this just my normal? But once again, I'm a day off in my week. I've had to keep reminding myself it's Wednesday and not Thursday, and I'm just like, does my week feel that long? Am I that hyped for the weekend? Does my sense of time just continually fucked? Well, option 3 is always there. Going well. Glad to hear it. Okay, man menu. It's nice to hear you since last time. Last time the audio took a moment. But yeah, we're a werewolf. We're like halfway through this. We're a werewolf now. Oh man, there's a bison. Does this mean we're finally going to see these last European bison it keeps mentioning? Just thinking of some crazy applications, the Sombra powers in the tabletop, and I'm like, oh god. Is it too OP? Do you have too much ideas? Too much potential? Is it all terrifying? Do you feel like you're on the boat ride in the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie? Okay, yeah, Lost in the Woods, where we're a fucking werewolf. And Cornell's all like, see, told you. Oh my god. Is this another dream, or... Part of the forest. The morning smelled of safety, fur, earth, and the forest. I opened my eyes and saw other people cuddling up to me, their muzzles resting on their paws as they slept. Gentle snoring filled the warm space under the low-hanging branches of an old spruce tree. Well, that sounds quite pleasant after the of last time. It's terrifying, huh? Let's put it when terrifying is putting it mildly, you know it's bad. Put down diabolic. Apocalypses everywhere. And perhaps one Hamble. I say purely because this little chaotic plushie kept succeeding to yeet himself onto my keyboard as I was trying to set up for stream. And I was like, Hamble, get out of the way, please. Hamble did not want to get out of the way. Hamble wanted to channel his inner cat. Be on the keyboard. Okay, give you a bit of context. Oh, this is gonna be good. Yeah, just go outside. Just go. Stepping over the sleeping forms, I made my way outside. Alone, hiding in the tall grass, I sniffed around. The sky was bright, and the forest around me was dark and full of interesting smells. High in the trees, birds yelled about status, sex, and violence. Maybe remember the totally not cool scene we had before. Things are not okay, me. Something opened in my mind, and memories started flooding back. The run through the night, the bite, the strange dream about being dream. Yeah, totally, a dream about being a werewolf. A creature stirred in the bushes nearby, a tall, dark silhouette, a strangely familiar smell. We can tense up, we don't have to run just yet, hopefully. I tensed up and watched the human as they looked around. Maya, there you are, they said, when they noticed me. It's time to get out of here. This is fine. Yeah, we'll spasm. Wait. Suddenly a feeling like a cramp or a spasm surged through me, and everything changed. I was home in the human form. My body started resetting itself to the familiar shape, and it hurt. Bones broke and fused again. Muscles and sinews moved under my skin. I cried and thrashed. Then, panting and sweaty, I was home again. It's the human form. I hit the ground with my bare ass. Colors exploded. The morning breeze suddenly became cold, and I shivered. It's kind of rough. There are 2 crazy powers that any of the Sombra can have because they both come from in-clan disciplines. Oh boy. Not just 1 crazy power. No, no, no. They get to have 2 crazy power because fuck everybody else. Not in a, because other people can't have powers, but in a, other people are gonna have to deal with that. Okay, yeah, let's look up. Confused, I looked at the person approaching me. Kim. Ah, okay. Is Kim fellow werewolf? I presume. You look cold. Fabulous as always, but cold. Kim crouched down and handed me a bundle of clothes. They'll have to do until you learn the right to dedicate them so they survive the change. Hope you like the style. Cool, they got a way to not destroy their clothes every time. That's neat. Hey, Andrew, how's it going? I took the bundle. We're just, coming to terms with being a werewolf now. I snatched the bundle and started pulling the clothes on. Sneakers, loose-fitting jeans, a hoodie with a unicorn. They fit perfectly. I thought about the previous night. Do we want to... I thought about the previous night when I was raging through the forest, about how differently I experienced the world through the wolf senses, and about the discomfort and confusion of changing shape. Yes, and the slight case of bones breaking and whatnot. So, I was a werewolf. Go figure. Yeah, go figure. Master the change. We'll do that. There was no dying. No dying. There might be a lot of death involved, but it's not here, me. There was no denying it. I was no longer human. Was I in trouble with the law? Which, might maybe be. Might kind of... That's a bit of a pressing question. Going okay? I'm glad it's at least going, bud. So, Fist of Cain is a level 5 bonus power that basically allows you to break bones, rend flesh, fucking decapitate vampires by simple punch to the head, etc. That's why it's level 5. Yeah, I can see that. The other power is a level 3 Oblivion Discipline power that literally ages everything you touch in very catastrophic ways. Makes your targets blind, deaf, or mute if you touch their eyes, ears, or throat. It can make bones brittle. So imagine combining those 2 powers. I'd rather not. As in using it at the same time. Yeah, no, I'd rather not. Should never be allowed to be. Still from that I get one real friend before I move in, like 6 months from now. Yeah, that do suck. I mean, it sucks. The optimist in me is like, would there ever be any potential you could like do anything between that now and then? But yeah, you're basically Stem at that point. One Punch Man. Which, whilst I don't have the full referencing list for this, yeah, you're just a bit fucking OP. You're like the OP of the OPs, and it's not okay. Oh yes, was I in trouble with the law? Because, you know what, if I turned into a werewolf and, killed my friend and whatever, that might be a little more up on my brain. But the next one would definitely be the am I in trouble? There was a murder last night, I said anxiously. What if I find my DNA at the crime scene? We'll take care of that. Human laws aren't as relevant for you anymore. We just stood there for a moment, comfortable in silence. I was wondering how one usually learned that they were a werewolf. But how come nobody knew about werewolves? Well, maybe because they don't want to be that well known. Yeah, no, and Kim, did you tell us? It was always about prejudice, said Kim when I asked for their story. It's not what I asked. I asked about how you became a werewolf, I clarified. Patience, darling, Kim waved their finger at me. I've seen it all, you know. I was born in the day when the Berlin Wall was constructed, and half of my family was cut out. They looked somber. I ran away from home when I was 13 and hung out with some really weird crowd at the zoo station. Oh, what do you mean the most? You mean there's an even worse fact? Cold moon. Cold moon. Ah! Why did they run? Why did you run, I asked. I liked it there. There were animals, and we lived like animals, but I liked it. Kim shrugged. You see, I always knew I was a werewolf. My family was full of them. I went through everything you could imagine. Punk rock, Berlin squats, drug dealing, gay clubs, you name it, I was there. Nodded and Kim continued their story. And there always were some sad, prejudiced pricks. Prejudice, it's the worst shit. All those little constructs in their brains that poison everything they do. But how come nobody knew about it? Again, because clearly werewolves don't want to be that known. Jeez. Doesn't make any sense, it suddenly struck me. How come nobody knows werewolves exist? We protect the veil. Poetic term for the false assumption that the supernatural does not exist, which the delirium reinforces. Okay. It's easy to convince humans that supernatural doesn't exist. They already want to believe that. And the delirium helps. Madness and memory loss suffered by humans who look upon a guy in Krino's form. Yeah, delirium. Me too. Me too, Maya. Me too. You mean delirium as in the medical condition? I asked, remembering something that I'd read about acute confusional states. You'll have to ask Pat for that, but the gist of it is that humans are incapable of remembering that they saw a Krynos. They laughed. The half-wolf, half-human, or form of the... Okay. All the different forms. They panic, turn away, and instantly forget, every time. Then I realized something. I realized something important. The wolves had awoken. Oh. At some point, the rest of the party had awoken and joined us. The clearing was full of wolves. Fuck. I mean, it should be fine, right? But we'll set that there for a second. Vampires are generally lowest on the power scale when compared with all other creatures in World of Darkness, and that includes the Sombra too. So you can be sure there is easily something in the World of Darkness universe that can counter the combo of those two powers. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit, but also I really want to know the lore of what wonderful creatures out there could counter. Oh. Terrifies me, but intrigues. I mean, they're just our buds, right? Fight or flight. Wolves were closing in on me, but they weren't really wolves, were they? They were werewolves, like me. Denial, escape, acceptance, cooperation. Fucking terrifying, Venturing. Yeah. That's me over here being like, could these things totally, absolutely be far too terrifying? Yes. Am I still gonna be intrigued by every vaguely, supernaturally something? Yeah. Denial or acceptance? Denial or acceptance? Honestly, I feel like if I was like suddenly a werewolf, I wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, okay, chill, I'm a werewolf now, let's roll with that. But at the same time, I feel like all our choices so far, we've been like, oh yeah, sure, that's happening. Okay, acceptance. We'll go with it. We'll go with it. Hiding the bodies. The headless body was heavy. I said that as my first kill. It was my burden. It was my duty to take it to the barrows. I didn't kill. That's a little. I mean, we don't know, but also, oof. I didn't do it, I said, looking at the corpse. I'd never. We all killed someone during our first change, came nod of sympathy. It's part of being Garrow. Term werewolves use for themselves. They and Pat accompanied me, carrying the severed head in a bag. The others stayed behind, covering the tracks. I focused on the walk. Crazy comment made me oh no, Cold Moon. Cold Moon, what other terrifying combo? I didn't want to talk, or to think for that matter. That's a mood. Not about the person I was carrying, or rather trying to carry. It's just a thing. I needed to transport it from point A to point B. That was it. But the body was too heavy. I mean, a fucking body would be damn heavy. I kept dragging the body, but the burden was too much to bear. I was tired and hurt, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I looked at the body, and I really wanted, to say something. But I choked on my words, and I curled up into a ball with my arms around my head. I couldn't! I can't, I said. And then it was the only thing I could say, louder and louder, until it became a shriek. I can't! Kim sighed and kneeled beside me. You're a werewolf. Gaia soldier, are you? Physical and spiritual, something about it. There's nothing you can't do. Get up. We have a world to save, and you have a legacy to fill, and a debt to pay. Well, it's not like I can disagree anyway, but thanks for the pep talk, I guess. Took a deep breath. They were right. I was here for a reason, and I had things to do. I changed. Yeah, we may as well. Oh man, I get to choose the form. Nice. Hey, Zerdath. Come here, Hamble. Your hugs have been demanded. Labro is strong enough to lift heavy things without breaking a sweat and intimidate. That might be useful. Krynos is a war form, ruthless killing machine. There's nothing subtle about it. Definitely not. Hispo is a monstrous wolf, smart, fast, heavy, and absolutely scary. Lupus is the wolf form, a majestic animal with all its advantages and limitations. Looks great on camera. Glabro sounds, I just need to be a little stronger, I was Glabro, the near-human form. The pain was stronger than I ever imagined. I felt my muscles spasm as they rearranged themselves. My jaw cracked and my mouth filled with blood. I clenched my fists and claws drove into my palms. I screamed. When I rose, panting and sweaty, I was more than human. I was Glabro, wolfish, strong, scary. It did fucking hurt. Damn. All the differences. Your voice isn't as loud as the music, by the way. Thank ya. I will turn it down some more. Because the music just wants to keep being a loud little shit. Let's see how that is. Okay, I thought it was just... Never doubt the potential for the audio to just be the audio. The change hurt more than I expected. The world shifted, not much, but enough. I felt my teeth get sharper and muscles stronger. I picked up the body. It was a lot lighter. We went on! Cool. I'm a teeny tiny bit stronger, and hopefully that's enough. As we made our way through the forest, I realized we weren't alone. Somehow, I knew what I'd see before I even saw it. A white weasel and a dark gray wolf. How about that? Ah, my companion smiled. I see you've noticed our patrons. Is this where they start plugging their Patreon? Patron, a spirit joined to a pack or tribe and representative of its inner nature. I do remember them from my dream, but also, tell me more. Tell me more. Weasel, morning wolf. Yeah, we know each other, I said, remembering my dream. We sort of met the other night. The two animals stopped in front of me in the middle of the path. We came here to teach the cub, said the wolf. She smelled of ash and tears. Was I hallucinating? I mean, you turned into a werewolf and got all this going on. I can understand that being a question, but, no, you're just supernatural. I couldn't believe what I saw. It made no sense. I felt as if my brain was short-circuiting, trying to interpret signals not meant for human senses. Was there really a wolf? My eyes told me there was a wolf staring at me, but when I looked at it, I felt ash on my tongue. I heard a mourning howl so deep it reverberated in my bones, and I smelled fire. And when it talked, it was like the rustling of leaves formed words in my mind. They wouldn't leave me alone. But hallucinations or not, they just wouldn't leave me alone. The weasel circled me, and before I knew it, I could feel small claws on my leg, then on my back, and then on my arm. It smelled of musk and electricity, and then it bit my ear. Why would it do that? Yeah, I'm like, excuse me, what was that for? Ow, I shouted. Why would you do that? To see how you react, obviously, the weasel's electronic voice echoed in my head. Enough, the wolf growled, or at least that was what my brain decided to hear. Cold moon, I'm terrified for what this paragraph's gonna tell me. So, there is level 3 or 2, don't remember precisely which level, Oblivion power called Arms of Araman, which allows you to create shadow tentacles that can smother or grapple physical beings. And there is a mind control power, part of Dominate discipline, that basically allows you to command people and kindred. So imagine this. You command your target to freeze while shadow arms pull your target apart while you are pummeling them with the fist of Cain, like mentioned before. When even writers of World of Darkness books say that the Sombra are most powerful clan among kindred, this is what they mean. Nobody should have that much power. She said, talking about supernatural creatures that are already not not the highest on the ladder of their supernatural universe, which is another scare. Felt the weasel draw its breath. Okay, Andrew. In the beginning, there was Gaia, aka Mother Earth, and she gave birth to a mighty breed of warriors, the weasel began. It sounded electronical, like a teenager reading a Wikipedia page over a voice chat. They were called Garu, that's werewolves in werewolfish, and their sole purpose was to protect Gaia. They failed, wailed the wolf. I looked at the wolf. There was danger everywhere, shrugged the wolf, when I looked to her for advice. When time began, Gaia released 3 primal forces upon the earth. The Weaver, manifestation and symbol of order and pattern. Wild, manifestation and symbol of pure change. The Chaos of transmutation and elemental force. And the Worm, manifestation and symbol of evil, entropy, and decay. And Gaia believed, okay. The weasel continued. The Wild was the untamed force of life and creation. The cold, ruthless Weaver gave structure to the world, and the Worm destroyed what needed to be destroyed, creating balance. I feel like untamed force of life. Are we creatures of the wild, or are we weavers? Or maybe we're worm. Man, I don't know. So were werewolves creatures of the wild, I asked, an untamed force of life? They were Gaia's children, the wolf snarled, born to herd and contain humans. So what went wrong, other than I'm going to assume it could be summed up as humans? I can see that something went wrong, I smiled wryly. The weaver grew too ambitious and wrapped the worm within its lifeless web. Why? Why? The weasel answered, confined and denied. The worm slowly went insane, the wolf wailed. Poor worm. Now Gaia is dying, choked by the weaver and eaten alive by the worm, wailed the wolf. And the wild is not the one you should fight, she snarled. You were born to protect it. Then it turned and led the way. It took us to the barrows. And that's why the Slumber are my favorite clan. So much for potential for gruesome and dark creativity. Yeah, I can see the appeal there. You could really fuck shit up in the most twisted, beautiful ways. But also, oh boy, would not want to run into one in a dark alleyway, or, in a well-lit alleyway, or, anywhere. The barrows looked just as I remembered them, but somehow calmer, warm, and welcoming. Kim kneeled near one of the mounds, put their hand on it, and whispered a few words. I saw the ground open slowly, like a mouth in the earth. I sighed. Let's do this. We put the body in the hole. We took the severed head and the body I'd wrapped up in sheets and put them in the hole. It closed slowly, and I could swear I heard the trees nearby sigh in anticipation. The wolf howled, and I could feel the hair on my hands rise. Welcome to your new life, the talking white weasel grinned. We have something else to show you. I don't know, what do they want to show me? I'm hyped. Welcome back, Andrew. Slumber really give you every tool to actually roll. Yeah, they ain't fucking around. They're like, oh, you want to be the big supernatural monster? Here you fucking go. Yeah, speaking of dark alleyways, there's one more power that is... Vision quest. You're a cub, so you have special privileges, said the weasel. Pushka will grant you a vision. You must see to understand, said the wolf. Think carefully before you choose what to see. Oh man, the past, your family, the present, the forest, the future, your destiny. I mean... Strictly speaking, we came here to find out about our family, so perhaps the Barrows is the option. But at the same time, they're all very appealing. Am I going to replay this in the future? Probably. Perfection. Perfection? Okay, past. Keep that family theme going. The tangled paths. It was hard to find the Barrows, although I knew where they were. When I looked behind me, the path had disappeared. Pushka is loyal. I felt the Pushka playing with me, twisting paths, blocking my way with bushes and dead trees, and then suddenly opening a new path that was straight and full of sunshine. But I pushed on. Forrest is just trolling me. Since the change, I had become acutely aware of how my body worked, and I remembered what humans were good at. Running. Stubborn, relentless, long-distance running. Not as fast as a deer, not as nimble as a wolf, but steady and without rest. So I ran. Then I was there. And the Barrows. I climbed the nearest hill. When I was at the top, I stumbled on something. A shape in the grass. A skull watching me from its bleached eye sockets. Yay! More heads! I don't know why, but I just had an idea for a werewolf story. But they gave a full funeral service for everyone they killed. Oh, I could totally picture the werewolves from the What We Do in the Shadows movie doing that. That they're already werewolves, not swearwolves. I feel like it would be. I'd believe it. Touch the skull. Touch the skull. Touch the skull. Buried past. There is a swirl, It starts deep within me, and then it expands. Everything is in motion, and there is no center anymore. I see a forest. There is a forest. I run among the trees, and suddenly I see a hamlet where a clearing once was. My howl is like a keen. The houses are mere huts. There is almost nothing that protects the people from the forest. Their clothes are rags, their feet are bare, their hair and long beards are unkempt. There are wolf cubs. Oh, are these the wolf cubs? There are wolf cubs, then there is blood. Then the howling begins. The mournful, blood-curdling king of a mother who has lost her children. Watch, whispers the voice in my head. Watch and remember. But I want to act. Yeah, we might have to just watch me. You can literally use any shadow as a portal to oblivion itself, and you can yeet anyone into it. To kindred without the means to exit oblivion, it's an eternal prison that feeds off of their humanity until there's nothing left of their soul. And to anything with a heartbeat, it's basically an instant death, because oblivion is kind of like a vacuum space in a sense that life cannot exist there. Whew! That's the exact place you don't want anyone to be able to create a portal to. I'm just picturing, you know, little silly scenario that's just a vampire running through oblivion with a portal gun. I'm just getting rid of characters from campaign that way. And at that point, that's it. There's no way they can return. Yeah, you have to get creative. Hope something has some kind of means to exit oblivion. Do your friends go on a quest to rescue you? Are you gone? I want to act! Analytical, but I cannot just stand by and watch. I want to act. I weigh everything for and against the humans, and I find them guilty. The forest listens to me. The forest wakes up, erupts with rage, and powerful furred bodies surge through the trees towards the village. The humans try to escape. They scream and beg for mercy. They try to protect themselves with fire. I take the fire from their hands. Garou rise up, their talons red with blood, their eyes glazed with fury, and the fire is yanked from the hands of the villagers. I burn their houses. The houses start to burn. I make the wolf mother happy. The keening turns into a howl of joy. I am there from the very beginning. Family burned villages for the Cusco for ages. Garou have my eyes, my face. They are my family. I am the blood of their blood. I am part of the story from the very beginning. And I do it again. And then it happens again. The humans return. They rebuild the village, this time stronger and better protected. The keening begins once more. Then we, the Garou, come down on them like wolves on the fold. And again. And again. New villages, new fires, more blood. Yeah, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is stupid. I do not want to do this anymore, but the keening begins again. My heart fills with grief and rage, and villages burn. Until one day, there is only one Garou left in the family, and he slays his own kindred in the fit of his first rage. Oop. I know him. Okay, who is he? Who is he? He is young, but I recognize someone in him. An old man I know. He used to tell me stories about the forest before my mother took me away. Grandfather? I can't move. I stay there and I watch, but I can't move. My throat burns, my stomach is in knots. I want to scream, but I have no mouth. I feel the fire, I smell the blood. I smell ash and tears. I see the large, ash-gray wolf looking straight at me. Her eyes are golden. She weeps. "It is in your blood," she says to me. It is your duty. It is you. Come with me, child. Be my fangs and claws. There is no one else to be my cub. Come to me, child. I will nurse you and I will lick your wounds. We will kill together. We will feast. And we will be merry. The forest will grow. I looked at her. I looked at her, and perhaps for the first time, I saw her for who she was. Her pelt was marred with fire, her eyes were smoking embers, ash was falling from her heaving flanks. She looked old, ancient, sad and alone. She was morning incarnated. That's pretty accurate, but hello, Kazan's mother. That's the Morning Wolf, is the mother from the story. She was Kazan's mother, mourning her stolen cubs, howling in the woods, waiting for a response that never came. But she was more than that. She was the darkness. She was the darkness itself, lost in her grief, swallowed by mourning so intense that it warped everything it touched. Whoever she'd been before was gone. Only the need for revenge remained. At least that was what I thought when I looked at her. The wolf mother looked back at me, and something in her eyes made me realize that she was helping my family for generations, and that my family used to serve her. Join me, she pleaded. Only you can understand me. Only you. I don't know how I feel about all this. Oblivion is a place where fucking ghosts come to die. Oh man, I let that sink in. That if the ghosts go to die, the place where ghosts come. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, what happens to a ghost in Oblivion, though? Presuming, since they go there to die, I presume they die. But I'm like, are they not alive in the first place? Do they still count as having humanity? Like, because, you know, they could exist there because they're not alive, right? If that's just the basis of it. Questions. But yes, I think I will turn and run because this is a little much. Morning Wolf cautious. I took a step back, then another, and another. I turned and I ran. The forest watched me. Silent and indifferent. Darkness! One of us. A lone howl pierced the silence like a single ray of moonlight in the darkness. And then there was another one, and then another, and then another. A choir of voices, triumphant and joyful. I opened my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I was in a clearing. Around me, there were wolves, huge, monstrous wolves, howling at the moon. I realized that was my life now. In a moment of bittersweet reflection, I understood that my old life was over. Maya the student was a part of the past. My present, my future, was now forever linked to what happened in the forest. Well, hello there, Cornell smiled at me, and welcome to the Sept. The Sept, whatever that meant. Okay, just so you know, I said slowly, I have no idea what a Sept is. For a werewolf, the pack is family, Cornell explained, and an alliance of packs united in a common goal is a Sept. There were 2 packs, at least 2. At least. I realized that there must be at least 2 packs there. I do wonder if Olga is... Yeah, that could make sense. 3 of the monstrous wolves changed. Olga and Misa stood up, human-looking again, their clothes rumpled. A yellow-eyed wolf by their side turned out to be Daniel. Of course. We are the pack of the Morning Wolf Mother, said Olga. They smelled of ash and tears, and for a moment I saw the wolf spirit among them. Yeah, I'm hyped. So last part of my gift for friend didn't come in, did I make it? Oh man, no, 3 days late sucks. I have to give the other part tomorrow and then the final part whenever it gets in. Hopefully it's not too late. Like, you know, can't be much later. Well, I know the feeling of just watching things being like, are they going to arrive on time? They're not alive in mortal, not mortal sense of the word. Just, wondering how that gets handled. Look at Cornell. Hey, buddy. A great grey-eyed wolf changed into Cornell, and soon Pat and Kim joined him. We are the Winter Weasel Pack, said Kim. A white shadow settled on Pat's shoulder. I smelled musk and electricity. We are all Gaia's soldiers, said Cornell, in that we have no choice, but we can choose whom we fight alongside. Who's winning the war? If there's a war, I asked, who's winning? At the moment, the worm, Cornell said. The word reeked of decay and burning oil. Mother Earth is sick, dying, and we are doing our best to protect her. Yeah, do I have to join a pack? I'm gonna assume probably. Do I have to choose a pack? I asked just to make sure. No Gyro can survive on their own, Kim shook her head. I should know. I tried to keep both my family and my pack. The family part crashed and burned. The pack stayed. Oh, man. Why not both? I have so many questions. I shook my head. Yeah, what about the moon? Always ask about the moon. Why did I hear the moon whispering to me, I asked. Luna gave us rage. That is why she's important, Olga said. And that is why you'll never be able to touch Silver again. Wouldn't it really suck if, you were wearing a lot of silver jewelry and stuff and then got turned into a werewolf? Oh, there's no tracking. It's literally just waiting well, here's hoping. Oh, that's so rude. Yeah, was every set that diverse? I would like to have looked at more of them. You are from all over Europe, I noticed. Is this a standard for a set? I looked at Cornell. I didn't even know if that was a stupid question or a smart one. I looked at Cornell. It's far from the standard, but desperate times make strange bedfellows, he smiled sadly. Normally a sept is dominated by one tribe, maybe two. There are at least a dozen tribes, Daniel interrupted. And I hope, Maya, that you will choose yours wisely. No pressure, huh? How did the spirits work? Tell me everything. What about the spirits, I asked. How does that work? World casts a shadow, and we call it the Umbra, said Lisa. And in the shadow, every living creature, every emotion and idea, every important object exists as a spirit. That's all you need to know at the moment. So how subjective is every important object? That's a terrifying thought. I summed it up. So, if I got all this right, I've been conscripted into an ancient war against the worm, I said, slowly trying to put it all together, and the moon gave me rage as a weapon, but I must avoid Silver. Oh. And there's a whole secret world of spirits, I continued, and I have to join a pack and choose a tribe. Exactly, Lisa nodded. As for the tribe, there are two people who could mentor you now. Olga is from the Black Furies. Black Furies, the almost all-female tribe focuses on atrocities committed against women. They know the mother is female and represent all resentment and anger women harbor from thousands of years of male oppression, hated by other tribes because they only fight for half of the planet's inhabitants. I mean... It's a good thing to care about. I get why other tribes would be a bit like, come on, care about other things too, but yeah. An ancient tribe of women warriors, and Cornell is from the children of Gaia. He's more a peace and harmony guy. Yes, he is. A tribe that believes in peace with humans and their rage is a taint of the worm, not the righteous fury of Gaia. Hated by the other tribes for their reluctance to use violence and their celebration of pacifist human philosophies. I mean, I'm a bit of a peaceful being, so, yeah, what about my family's tribe, you know? Before I make choices, I want to know all my options. Oh, hello, Sun Wolf, what? Hey, the shadow with Fenris. Hey, what about my family's tribe, I asked. Lisa winced. Daniel sighed. Olga shook her head. What's wrong, guys? What's the matter, I asked again. Your ancestors were the Gapt of Fenris, and no one here wants to have anything to do with that tribe, Cornell answered. They stand against everything we believe in. Were they really that bad? That would be of me. I'd be like, how bad could they have been? They surely aren't that bad, I asked. Are they? Get of Fenris are the most radical Garou supremists that ever marred the face of Earth, Kim scoffed. Like, legit fastest werewolves. Some of them literally work for him. Oh my god. Okay, they kinda are that bad, okay. A tribe of werewolf supremists who celebrate the destruction of the human world that Feather Fenrir promises at Ragnarok. Antagonistic to the other tribes to the extent that some whisper of worm taint, hated and distrusted, many see them as another enemy in the war of apocalypse. I did have the right to know my shitty-ass legacy, but hey. Thank you for telling me, I said. I had the right to learn about where I came from. For a moment we were all silent. There are a lot of werewolves there. Can I ask about others? One thing is bugging me. Why are there so many of you here? Suddenly everyone in Biowaviza is a werewolf or what? You know nothing, Olga laughed bitterly. A mere century ago there were dozens of packs in these forests. But none of the old guard survived the 90s. Lisa shook her head. We had to start from scratch. Until you showed up, there were only 6 of us. And the 3 of us not even local, Cornell pointed out. 2 packs too small for their own good. I need to know more about the tribes. I wanted to learn more about the tribes and find an option that would really resonate with who I was. Yeah, I want to talk to everybody. Pat was a glass walker. An adaptable tribe of urban human lovers who worship the weaver, or at least freely use its tools to fight the worm, hated by the other tribes for their willingness to abandon the old ways and embrace the tools of the enemy. The tribe was finding its niche in cutting-edge technological cityscapes among the strands of the weaver's net. It sounded intriguing. We talked about it. It is very intriguing. What's she doing in the forest? So are you basically a city dweller, I observed? All glasswalkers are. It's our natural habitat. I feel quite out of place in the forest. She was at home. I'm intrigued by glasswalkers. I feel like in a replay I'd be like, yes, but I'm also like, I feel like we vibed too much in the forest to be like, Why? I couldn't understand. Pushka is our home. It may be your home, she said, and suddenly I realized we had less in common than I thought. I'm more of a city girl, she added. We use the weaver to fight the worm, and the forest is not the weaver's domain. And I happen to be quite fond of humanity. They have great potential. Yeah, I think if I was a werewolf in this universe, I'd join them. She didn't look like a werewolf at all. I mean, what's a werewolf look like to me? Jeez. I wouldn't take you for a werewolf, you know. I said to Pat. She snorted. Why? Tech nerd. Because, you know, no offense here, you are a tech nerd. It took some time before she stopped laughing. Well, she said, and wiped the tears from her eyes. I am. And I didn't expect to turn out a werewolf either. I was a student, happy with my tablet and coding, and then
Dan finally got that Prime sub freed up.
Ooh. Engine, thank you for the sub! Boop. Enjoy your hambly emotes. At this point, I just take opportunities to boop Hamble. How did you meet Cornell? Yeah, I am a curious being. I was in his first pack. We were both hanging out with the hacktivist crowd back then. When things went south and he disappeared, I found him. Yeah, no, hold up. What happened? What happened? After that things went south, I pressed on. What happened exactly? Our pack was decimated strictly because we were following Cornell's plan, said Pat. Yeah, that's a bit yikes. Just a bit. I'm so sorry that happened to you. He was shaken. Those things happen when you resort to violence, she said. But now we are following a different path, Cornell and I. She sighed. You know, he is stunning. He makes a great impression. The 1st, the 5th, the 10th as well. But he's not a leader, if you know what I mean. I didn't know how to answer. Well, a true leader puts his pack first and himself second. And Cornell makes great first impressions. How do you get a spirit patron anyway? Tell me everything. My back thanks you. I caught it! How did you get the winter weasel to be your patron? I was curious. I caught it, said Pat. Or rather, I made sure it would have more to eat with me than alone. That's how you catch weasels. Was it a forest spirit? See, would it be But is it a forest? But it is a forest spirit, isn't it? I think it's a weasel, so it gets accustomed to live where there is food, and right now it's the city. It hunts electricity spirits these days and feasts on them. Well, that explains its electronic soundingness. I had to think it over. Oh, man. Finally, I stopped asking. I had to think over what I'd learned. I gotta talk to everyone. I'll talk to myself, but... I asked Lisa about her tribe, but she inherited her Cyberach Lexi from her grandfather. She said I didn't know the proper legends, customs, and culture to join. That's valid. Their hate, sorrow, and rage are deeper than any other tribes because their icy Siberian homeland is melting and decaying. Now they are despised by the other tribes as half-breed loners who care only for themselves. Every one of these is, like, hated by the other tribes for reasons. Where's the tribe for could we all just get along, thank you? Now, how did you become a werewolf, if you don't mind me asking? My grandpa saw that I had a soul of a wolf and started teaching me about the spirit world. She looked at me with her violet eyes. When the time was right, he guided me through the change. Didn't really remember my grandpa, but he told us the monkey stories, so... My grandpa was telling me stories, I sighed, but I forgot most of them. I forgot how he looked. You remember more than you realize, Lisa said. How else would you know the high tongue? Pardon? The language... Okay, I literally just said language. Depends as much on body language and tone as on actual words. Much of it is instinctive, accented by pheromones, growls, and whines. What's your question? Was Cyberach a Russian word? I mean, you're from Siberia. I have the tribe name reminds me of something. Yes, Cyberach. She pronounced it differently, so it sounded like a Polish word. I must have heard it before. I'm sure that I heard it before, I said, in a different context. In Russian, it means someone from Siberia, but in Polish, it has its own very specific meaning, Lisa explained. It's a word for political prisoners exiled to Siberia, and there were tens of thousands of them. Oh no! Yeah, why did you wouldn't? Why are you using the name, even if it has such a loaded meaning? I think that might be why. Lisa sighed. My tribe name describes both my legacies. My granny was a political exile, and my grandpa was a Siberian indigenous. I use it because it speaks the truth. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just let you go back to doing whatever. Um, Daniel. I asked Daniel if I could join his tribe, but he didn't understand the question. I'm a red talon, he said, as if to explain to everything. Daniel. Daniel, please. Okay, red talon. Born exclusively from wild wolves, most of them hate every human alive for their millennia-long war against predators and wolves all over the planet. The other tribes hate them because they don't compromise and are blind to the suffering of the human half of the Garu. That I can see why that would be a bit of a hard to see eye to eye with. Yeah. I stared to get who he was. Daniel sniffed the air. His nostrils moved in a very non-human way. He was looking, enthralled. Was he a wolf? Well, it explains earlier comments of him being a guy who seemed like he learned how to human from reading a book. Are you a wolf? I asked. He made a face, but we all are. That was not what I meant. I could see what he wanted to say. You are right, I agreed. We run and hunt together. My experiences were different than yours. He tilted his head and looked at me. Yes, I was born as a wolf. And then, when it turned out I was not only a wolf, I was disgusted. You know, going around on two legs, soft and helpless. Who really wants that? I'm a perfectly happy, soft and helpless marshmallow, but you know, I also was never born a wolf, so I suppose it would be quite jarring. To put it mildly. I didn't want to have anything to do with humans, but Lisa comes one day, and she talks to me, and brings me to Olga, and I think, well, they are not that bad, and they have stuff. Stuff is nice. I like stuff. He sniffed on the wind again. Besides, he said, I can show them the pushka the way I see it, the way the wolf sees it. Once they see it like that, they never come back to their old ways. What exactly were red talons? What are the red talons? I asked Daniel. It is the tribe of the Garu who are born as wolves, Daniel explained. We usually don't mix with others, and we kill humans, but since I am the only one here, I decided that it was better to join the rest. Valid, but yes, please elaborate. I wish to have more information. Why, I kept asking. He looked at me as if I were stupid. What are you? Stupid? He asked a second later. There is always strength in numbers. I protect my folk better when there are more werewolves around. Your folk? Wolves. That's all I wanted from him. Thanks. That's all I wanted. Okay, talk to Kim. I don't know if this is making me feel any clearer on my choices. Bone gnawers. Kim told me a lot about bone gnawers. Urban werewolves fighting for the disadvantaged and the marginalized. Children of the rat. They stand for the rights of the poor and the disenfranchised everywhere, making their homes in feathers, squats, and camps, hated by other tribes because they act like tame dogs, eating the scraps off the human table. Could they all just get along? Did they really have a rat as a patron? Oh man, is there a rat spirit? Can we see the rat spirit? Oh man. Sure we do, Kim answered. It's a very good patron, resilient. You want to be like a rat, always managing, always afloat. They kept talking. That's why the bone gnawers protect every single Gaia's child, no matter how small, because we are all valid. They sighed heavily. Now, tell it to the other Garu, and they look down at you. Because you are a bone gnawer, and they think they are superior. Prejudice everywhere. Okay. Bone gnawers seem chill, but I was too exhausted to bug them with personal questions. Anyway, before you're admitted to a tribe, you need to prove yourself. What now? Nobody saw that coming. Yeah, nobody saw that coming. Except for the part where we did prove myself. I was shocked. Hadn't I proven myself enough already? No, of course not, because it's going to be one very specific, stupid fucking task, isn't it? Rite of passage, yeah. You went through your first change, Pat said. She was leaning on a tree nearby. And you know everything you need to know at the moment. But you have to go through the rite of passage. Daniel rubbed against my leg, excited. A vision quest, Kim winked at me. More visions, great. And since we don't have time for tasks, we need you to solve a real problem, Olga stepped in. Oh dear. Namely, we want you to find a way of ending this logging problem, Cornell said gently. So, how would you like to do it? They all looked at me and anticipated. No fucking pressure then, huh, guys? I'll just solve your main issue, okay? I will take my damn time. Took my time? Overwhelmed by everything that happened. My old self was gone, replaced by a shape-shifting eco-warrior, but deep down, I was still the same person, with the same ideas and ideals. I knew what to do. Well, I'm glad that one of us does beat the rite of passage. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And the local source of our problems. I'm a middling ground kind of person. We need to find the source of the corruption, I decided. When we eradicate the cause, the symptoms will go away. Kim looked unconvinced. Never mind the loggers, Kim made a dismissive gesture with her hand. We have to inspire the protesters. Lisa rolled her eyes. You are all blind and ignore our most powerful ally. Lisa rolled her eyes. There are many ancient spirits in the push that we should talk to them. What is my plan, me? There must be someone responsible for the shit in Werewolf, Lisa. Here at the local level, I continued. I want to have a talk with them. Cornell bared his teeth in a predatory smile. I know exactly who we should talk to. Daniel beamed. Spoken like a true Philodox. You were born under a half moon, weren't you, Maya? Philodox. Those born under the half moon embrace balance between wolf and human, fury and wisdom, and act as judges of Loki. Okay. How did he know? I'm just a little half-moon werewolf, it's fine. I looked at him surprised. How did he know? Mom always told me that when she gave birth to me, the half-moon was shining through the window, reminding her that this too shall pass. Half-moon at Gmail. Why do these have squishy scratches? Specific Philodox judge. Honor. Okay. You're right, I nodded. How did you know? Garrow born under the half-moon are judges and truth-seekers, said Cornell. Just like you and me. A worthy Philodox is honor personified, added Lisa. Oh boy. Your place in the werewolf society will be determined by your renown. You can earn glory through defeating mighty enemies and succeeding at dangerous quests. You can earn honor by following your moral imperative and upholding the laws of the Garou. You can earn wisdom by acting efficiently and thinking well before you act. Your renown will change as you play, contributing to Maya's legend among the Garou. No pressure at all. When the game literally tells you no pressure at all. Yeah, I would feel a little overwhelmed. There's kind of a lot there, game. There's kind of a lot there. Olga must have sensed my confusion. Come on, we have a lot to discuss. She patted my shoulder. And we have to find your phone and wallet. So I followed her like a good little puppy. I had to tie up loose ends in my old life. That'd go missing in the forest, yeah. Oh yeah, what about Anya? I hope she's okay. Back to the beginning. I am sitting on a bus. The sun streaming through the windows is making it hard to see. The narrow road cuts through a dense old forest. My mind wanders. I remember doing something important, walking among the trees, looking for something, losing something I loved, gaining something unwanted. But then I'm fully awake, and the memories scatter away. We're almost there, says Anya. I did some searching. She looked at me from over her phone. And this place is amazing. The last primordial forest in Europe. I'm excited to be here. What the fuck? I know, right? I smile. I can't. I'm not able to finish. I start to cough. I try to stop. My throat is sore. My lungs hurt. I need to stop the bus. I get up and shout to the driver, but feel something sticky on my hands and torso. Something stopping me. Spider. Oh, my spiders. I'm appreciating the effects here. I'm crawling with small spiders. Thousands of them. Weaving their cobwebs around me, around the seat, around everything. I try to get out. I thrash at the window, but a few seconds later, I am bound in a cobweb cocoon. There's a hiss. Why am I getting cocooned by spiders? Then slowly, a long, dark, thin shape comes out of Bartek's mouth. A black snake that reeks of rotten meat, acid and oil. Don't fight, Maya. You're already mine, it says. Just like your grandpa. And then it kisses me. I swear to God, if the worm is literally a black snake. The plan! Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm just gonna take a moment to be like, hi, yeah, I'm reading a snitch. I say that in the, like, I'm going to take it. When I'm like, shut the fuck up for a second. And be like, yeah, not constantly. But then ramblings, like, what's the pointless? Loose ends. Yes. I woke up in my bed in the B&B, and for a moment thought the whole werewolf business had been a dream. Then I heard a startled breath, looked up, and saw Anya looking at me with wide eyes. What happened? Where were you? She asked. Was Bartek with you? Oh, Anya, I don't want to have this conversation, but yeah, we got a lot to talk about. There was so much to talk about. I didn't know where to start. Yeah, I was worried about her, because we haven't seen you. Are you alright? I asked. I was worried about you. Yeah, said Anya, scratching her head. After we were separated in the forest, I got lost and somehow ended up here. I sighed with relief. That's good. She was telling me what she thought was true. She had no recollection of seeing werewolves. So Pat was right. The human mind couldn't cope with seeing Acrinos. And when the delirium ended, the subconscious patched the holes in their memory with something rational. But how are you feeling? Asked Anya. How was I? I'm fine. I'm great. I'm alright. Sorry for disappearing so suddenly, I said. Because what else could I say? I told a version of the truth. You know? Got lost in the forest. Technically that part wasn't a lie. Then I stumbled on the activists and I kind of got carried away. Well, what about Bartek? How should I handle the Bartek thing? I couldn't tell her that he was dead, that I killed him. I don't really know where Bartek is right now, I said, my voice trembling a bit. Anya looked at me like she sensed something was wrong. I bit my lip not to cry. I'm like, oh please, no. I'm sorry, I said, fighting back the tears. How are you feeling? I'm worried, Anya started sobbing. I really like him and he ghosted me. Yeah, listen, he's kind of ghosting himself right now, so, just comfort her. It'll be alright, I hugged her. Let's just wait and see what happens. Give it time. Time ain't changing that one, oh boy. She nodded and tried to smile, and I felt a part of me changing forever. I wanted to tell her everything. Anya's been a great friend, but I don't know how well that would go down. I packed my bag in silence. I felt a rift growing between me and Anya, and I felt a sudden urge to tell her everything. I told her the truth. I hope she can handle it, please. Let her be my understanding best friend. Sagaru and I had a sacred duty to protect the veil hiding us from mortal eyes. But as Anya was a friend, there's no easy way to say it. I looked at Anya. I think I'm a werewolf. You what? She laughed uneasily. It might be a bad idea, but I'm committed. Let's see how badly this fucks up. I don't want to go full Karina, because like she's not gonna. For one, she's not gonna fucking know, and also I'm like, no, let's go for Lupus, because I feel that would be the least intimidating. I'm but a small friendly wolf. Anya's friendly, oh that's good. I doubled down in pain. My arms and legs cracked and twisted. My skull fractured and reset itself in a different shape. Fragments of bones crawling under the skin. My skin was rippling and sprouting fur. I howled in agony. When the pain subsided, I was Lupus, a wolf, seeing the world in smells and sounds. As soon as I looked at her with my new eyes, I understood that it was a mistake. Damn it. Please, 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 she curled up in the corner of the room. Don't hurt me. I didn't fuck out. But you were. What were we before? Yeah. If you were friendly before. Or was that. Did that go from loyal to friendly? It probably went. Yeah, it would have went from loyal to friendly. That. I got optimistic. Well, yeah, goodbye. Shouldn't have fucking told her. My body reset itself to the familiar shape. Bones broke and fused again. Muscles and sinews moved under my skin. I cried and thrashed. Then I was human again, with keen eyes, nimble fingers, and a silver tongue. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Close your eyes and don't move, I growled at her. Who would I become? I didn't know how to answer. What are we gonna do, me? I shrugged. Whatever the answer was, it was now Maya the werewolf's problem. Maya the student was dead. Anya approached me cautiously. Take care, she hugged me. You will figure it out. I sighed and took my bag and laughed. Well, see, that wasn't so bad. It wasn't the best it could have went, but that's pretty okay. Everything according to plan. I dropped my bags in the camp and ran through the plan one more time. They expected me to act like a Philodox, but we'd also discussed other plans, both more sophisticated. Philodox justice retribution. Bear beetles. Not an option, huh? Hilliard stories, propaganda, spirits, rituals. I'll roll with my Philodox-ness. Follow the money. With Olga's pack's local connections and Cornell's pack's technological wizardry, we followed the money and found out who was paying the loggers and security guards. Behind all the ideology and politics, it was all just business. We had to stop the money flowing. Exactly. Make it not profitable, they won't do it. They were cutting down trees because someone was paying them to do it. We decided to stop the money flowing. Finally, we were ready. Finish those guilty for logging. After a few days of stakeouts and preparations, we identified our target and were ready to move. We started with a kidnapping. Just a casual fucking kidnapping, that's fine. We let him out in the middle of the forest. I feel bad for the guy. I get we need to stop the logging, but I'm also... I mean, the loggers are just people who, you know, probably just trying to make money for their families and, you know, themselves, and it's all a bit fucked up, but whatever. I'll take the lead. I yanked the bag off the man's face. Cornell lifted the flashlight and shined it in his eyes so he couldn't see us. The man reeked of fear and too much aftershave. I knew him. Who is he? I knew him and it was going to be a problem. Because the man behind the local logging industry was Bartek's father. And I killed his son. He didn't know that, and the body would never be found. But did it matter? The man whimpered and shielded his eyes. It was time to deliver my message. Explained how things were. Here's the deal. You stop the logging, I explained as clearly as I could, and in return, you and your family can enjoy a safe future. One without strange accidents, fires, and misfortunes. He almost shat his pants. I could smell it. But he decided to play the tough guy. Fuck off, you bitch, he yelled. I'm going to make your life a fucking misery. Just you wait. I know the chief of the police. I know MPs. You won't get away with this. Who do you think you are? Oh, I'll show you who I am, I said quietly. I felt Cornell tense by my side, but he said nothing, just watched. Wow. We want to just intimidate him a little bit. Just a bit. We'll see how this goes. Raspberry in human form. My muscles spasmed and rearranged themselves. My jaw cracked and my mouth filled with blood. I clenched my fists and claws drove into my palms. Panting and whimpering, I changed. I was more than human. Wolfish, strong, scary. I know who you are, I growled in a deep, inhuman voice. A small, sad, fat man who's only good at owing money and being despised by his own wife. I could smell his fear. I could smell his fear rising, and I was glad. I know where you live, I growled. I know when you sleep, and I know when you wake up. We're watching your every move. He looked me in the eyes, transfixed, like a deer caught in the headlights. His lower lips started to tremble. That was just the beginning. Run, I kicked him. I said, run. The night was still young. It was a long hunt. It was a long hunt, and I made sure that it was fair. I let him rest from time to time, but I never let him forget that he was being hunted. I made him run, I made him sweat, and I made him fear. I enjoyed the hunt. We enjoyed the hunt, Cornell and I. We made a good team. In the end, the man was cowering on the ground, crying and shaking. I leaned in. I'm always watching, I growled in his ear. Please don't kill me, he moaned. I'll do whatever you want. I'll tell the people to leave. I'll stop it. Anything. Just don't kill me. We were done. Woo. Got a judge achievement. That was all I wanted to hear. Keep to your end of the bargain and I'll keep to mine, I promised and walked away. We left him in the middle of the forest. Meanwhile, me just thinking about Bartek and moment of triumph. I couldn't wait for the SEPT meeting that morning. Punishing the local lobbyist was my rite of passage, and I knew that I did great. I couldn't believe that I made it so far. We met soon after sunrise. We met soon after the sunrise in the same clearing where I woke up for the first time as a Garou. Lisa looked at us all and smiled. Our patrons were looking at her expectantly, so she stepped towards the center of the clearing. In the third of this step, those born under the crescent moon are mystics and seers, dealing spirits, interpreting visions and omens, and I'm here to make sure we do things the right way. Fair, but what is the right way? She came to me, and I held my breath. Maya, come forth. Are you a cub who seeks recognition as an adult? Sure, yeah. I am, I answered solemnly. Are you an applicant to a tribe? He said, I guess so. I don't know who I am. Who speaks for the cub? Lisa looked at her setmates. I do, Cornell stepped forward. I'm blind prophet of the children of Gaia. Philodox of the Winter Weasel Pack. I observed the cub on her mission, and I'm here to tell the story. Fine Prophet, really? Did they all have secret werewolf names? I shook my head, thinking that the whole thing had strong cult vibes. Werewolves are a cult! Has the cub passed her challenge? I mean, I like to think so, but you tell me. I'm gonna go lay down for a bit in case I don't hop back in before the end of the stream. Have fun and stay stream. Thanks for the stream. Campbell, you got another hug. Okay, Andrew, thank you for popping by. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a nice lie down, and we will cross our fingers on your post-delivery. Campbell, why are you so soft? I know I say this every time, but you guys, you have no idea how soft he is. He's a soft little smooshy. Soft little smoosh. Oh. It's a good thing. I knew how it all happened, but I held my breath nevertheless. She succeeded, was the answer. She fought bravely against overwhelming odds. And she succeeded. Lisa turned to me. Oh boy, have you chosen your name? I didn't know I needed to. My new secret name. Suddenly I remembered my grandfather talking about his old friends. He never used their real names. They were always Thunder, or Gray, or Needle. I always thought it was a gorilla thing, some kind of war names. And I wasn't so sure anymore. Yeah, it might have been more werewolfy. I had to capture my whole life. My aspirations, my personality, my heritage in one name. I cleared my throat. Mist, a name with more than one meaning. Scala, which was Polish for rock. Pine, a tree in the forest. Or Enigma, a mystery. Would like to be a mystery, but maybe I'm vibing Mist. I am vibing with Mist. My new name is Mist, I answered, thinking of fog and one of the Valkyries from Norse legends. As for the tribe... Choosing the tribe was another matter. Shit. I mean, I'm vibing with the peaciness, but almost like the bone gnawers kind of sound good. But, I could pick any of these quite happily. But I'm gonna go with this for now. Rainbows and unicorns achievement. After getting to know both Olga and Cornell better, I decided to join the Children of Gaia. Cornell agreed to mentor me. Only one thing remained to end the ceremony and make me a full-fledged Garu. I had to join a pack. I'm vibing a little more with Winter Weasels because I kind of, yeah. Back my reason pack. I joined Cornell's pack and chose the Winter Weasel as my patron, and so it was done. According to ancient rites, Lisa painted the mystical glyph of my tribe on my sternum. It disappeared after a moment, but whenever I closed my eyes, I could feel its warm touch between my breasts. Mist of the Children of Gaia, Philodox of the Winter Weasel Pack, welcome to our sept, she said solemnly. Then she howled. Howls rose towards the sky. They sang about ancient laws of war, status, and secrecy. I remembered only a few. Combat the worm wherever it dwells and wherever it breeds. Submit to those of higher station. Respect those beneath you. The veil shall not be lifted. I joined the song. Oh my god, I could do that. Make your own legend. I threw my head back and howled with my sap. I was a cub no more. I was ready to tell my own stories, to earn my own place in the pack, and to howl my own songs. And it only took like a whole day. That's progress. Oh boy. Me like, this is a little much fast, no? No? I mean, it makes sense that chapter 5 was shorter if it was just dealing with mostly the rite of passage stuff, but I'm also like, oh boy. Again with the bison. Am I ever actually going to see any of these last European bison? But yes. This should be the final chapter. I'm going to assume it's going to be a little longer, even though it's going to be interesting. That bison wiggles slightly. Oh man. Attention to detail. Yeah, me, pee break. BRB. Hi. I don't know why I'm bothering to make sure my hair isn't smooshed under my headset when this hairband keeps most of it further back anyway, but here I am, developing habits I hope to keep. Okay, chapter 6, The Storm. Don't life is strange me. I'm like, okay, we sorted out the logging thing. We sorted it out. I have a feeling that's probably not going to go according to plan. Or there'll be some other delightful, chaotic spanner in the works, if you will. But let's see. Let's see what it could possibly be. Plus, enjoy our little werewolf life. Straight to a graveyard, huh? Dust to dust. It was one of those blistering summer days when the asphalt melts, the grass withers, and the air smothers those brave enough to step outside. Ooh, that's most summer days as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. Despite the heat, it felt like the whole village was at the funeral. Is this like Bartax? It was moving. I stood there, surrounded by people, weeping over their loss, looking at the rosaries they clutched in their fists. Something tightened in my chest. For a brief, chilling moment, I thought I saw Bartak's face among the crowd. But no, I buried him in the barrows myself, and nobody there even knew that he was dead. It was someone else's funeral. Bartak was not the reason we gathered in the churchyard. The body of a hunter had been found in the forest. The circumstances of their death were unclear. It was our doing. Spoiler alert, it was the werewolves. It was our doing. My doing. And the death had tipped the scales. Did they die because they deserved it? Or did they happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, in the company of someone who couldn't hold her temper? Was that justice, or yet another sin demanding to be avenged? I could feel the tension seething around me. This death, this funeral had pushed the community, already weary and frightened by the recent disappearances in the forest, to the edge. The world was watching. The press had swarmed to the funeral like flies. They were reporting on how the illegal logging was a danger to both the ecosystem and human lives. The police were watching the crowd with disinterest as they leaned lazily against the trees. It had become political. Suddenly, the largest remaining parts of the final Pushcha Białowieża had become politically charged and the hottest place to be in Poland. And it wasn't only local politicians and activists from both sides who caught wind of the commotion. The Minister of Environment himself had driven Białowieża to attend the funeral. He was standing next to the priest conducting the ceremony, surrounded by police and what looked like a handful of bodyguards. The coffin went down and the crowd stirred. Everyone started lining up to throw a handful of dust on the coffin or put flowers in the grave. I found myself face to face with Anya. You're still here. I got swept by the crowd and found myself face to face with Anya. Everyone keeps pretending that he's just missing, but I know that Bartak is dead. She looked me in the eyes. He was such a cute guy, you know? I get she had feelings and that biases everything, but I'm also just amused that I think he's dead. He was just such a cute guy, you know? Set my condolences. Oh wait, it must be hard for you too, she patted my arm. But don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I appreciate that, Anya. I'm really sorry for your loss, I said, from the bottom of my heart. I wish things could be different. Anya shook her head. One more thing. I know you think you're helping, but have you ever asked anyone what they need? I looked over her shoulder at the crowd. It was clear that many people there felt that we were not helping. On the contrary, and the minister knew how to use that sentiment. I listened in disbelief. Oh dear. I watched in disbelief as the priest handed him the mic. He wasn't someone you'd call a good speaker. He repeated some platitudes, but it was clear he'd only come to show his face and tighten the leash on the local logging companies. The crowd listened, silent, as I moved. I realized the conflict was only going to escalate. What he didn't know was that the local loggers weren't being paid anymore, and the locals were on our side. We were ready to defend ourselves. Oh dear. The last stand. It was high noon, because of course it was. The sun was at its most merciless and the world was almost white with heat. The air smelled of herbs, bark, and tree sap. Insects buzzed lazily in the high grass, stunned by the summer sun. We were setting up the protest. Yeah, let's simmer down to that war. Just, it's okay. Chill out for now. The day was stifling as we set up the protest. The whole clearing was decorated with banners, and we all had our placards. The banner we'd hung in the National Park headquarters the week before was just a warm-up. To think that was but a week ago. Wood is the enemy of the forest was our main slogan, but there were many more. I wrote something constructive. Make the whole Pushka a national park, demanded my sign. It was a viable solution. We hope. I hope. It was a viable solution, I thought. The whole Pushka would be protected, and people could still earn money on tourists. There were so many of us. People kept coming to the camp, asking questions, looking for ways to help. Students, activists, even Greenpeace with banners reading "Stop logging" and "Respect EU law." The Pushka was watching us. Pushka was watching us. Every time a gust of wind was bringing the wet smell of the forest to my nostrils, I felt her strong, steadfast presence. She knew that we were doing everything in our power to save her. I thought about my family. For centuries, my family served the Pushka, burning villages and hunting down people who dared to hurt her. And now, I was the last arrow of my lineage. Whatever. What legacy did I want to leave behind? The pressure was almost palpable, and tempers were flaring. I looked at my pack. Should we run over the plan again? Cornell asked, looking at my pack. I'll keep jamming their communication, nodded Pat. And we'll coordinate the protesters, added Cornell. Glanced at the other pack. The wolf mother and her cubs were in their positions, guarding the forest and the perimeter of the campus. Agreed. That left the cops to me. It wasn't too late to negotiate. Don't believe we can. I think we should keep talking, I said. It's not too late for a peaceful solution. It's always worth trying, Cornell agreed. Cops were gathering. Oh, we're gonna try. We're gonna hope. The police were nervous, huddling in groups and shouting at each other and everyone who was in their way. Something was up. It was apparent that they were waiting for something. Then it reached boiling point. What are they up to? What are they doing? It reached boiling point when the minister arrived for a photo op. I had a bad feeling about it all. Yes, I do. My stomach turned when I saw the black SUVs. I had a bad feeling. Felt my pulse race. I knew he was in for a nasty surprise. The reporters closed in on him, shooting uncomfortable questions about the legality of the logging and his forestry policy. In hindsight, you could argue that what happened next set a chain of events in motion that had life-changing consequences for many. But at that moment, I didn't know that. But at that moment, I was too overwhelmed to even think about the consequences. There were too many people around me, too many unknowns, too much at stake. The members of my set had already moved their positions, and I also had my part to play. The minister was bad news. He sounded. With him at the scene, everything will get harder. I sighed, pointing at the minister. Canal nodded. I wasn't ready to give up. No giving up here. But I wasn't ready to give up. It was our chance to start negotiations. Mel grabbed me by the elbow. Let's go, he hissed into my ear. We might be able to talk to him. The press or the swarm of journalists. I smiled and apologized. We smiled and shook hands and apologized as we pushed through the crowd. It gave me a moment to think. I found the sweaty smell strangely comforting, but when we got closer to the minister, it became different, almost pronounced. There was an acrid tang hanging around him like a mist. I caught his gaze. The minister looked at us, and Cornell opened his mouth. "Get them out of here," snarled the minister, and turned his back to us. I shook my head and laughed bitterly. What was I expecting? The worm feeder would want to listen to us? Cornell touched my shoulder. We'll find another way. I have one last card up my sleeve. What's the card? Minister, do you know that all your local contractors deflected? I looked the official in the eyes. It doesn't matter, he looked at me like I was a child. We could use foresters. We could use the Territorial Defense Force. But we won't have to. People have to eat. They'll come work for us. They have no other choice. But he looked shaken. Yes! But he didn't see that coming, and for a moment looked shaken. Then he composed himself and looked at me with disgust. We're back to my friends. The activists, humans, and werewolves alike listened as we told them what had happened. The atmosphere was tense. We started our preparations. We prepared ourselves for the worst-case scenario. Okay, let's move, I heard someone shout. Move it, people, move it, you know what to do. And they did. There was a lot of laughter and friendly pushing, chains clinking. Some people darted up the trees to seat themselves in the branches. I was assigned to the human chain. Oh, maybe I should have clicked the other one, but hey, I helped to form the human chain. Hey, I heard, get those arms behind you. That's it, attaboy. It hurts, moaned a man's voice. Next time, do some yoga beforehand, huh? That's it, people. Open your hearts so you can hold your wrists behind your backs. So I locked my wrists. I threaded my arms through the arms of the people to my left and right, and then grabbed my wrists behind my back. It was tight on my shoulders, hot and very sweaty. Then we waited. We sat down, one long human chain, and watched the loggers and police as they approached, and then stopped. The sun shone, and it was calm, almost serene. The talk started there and then. I could see that the minister was an apt politician, and that he could smell a deal for himself in it all, but I didn't really care. We'd gotten what we wanted. We started to talk. Negotiator achievement! Cool! Peace talks. When the talks started, we weren't alone. After we'd stopped the local lobbyist, we'd noticed locals coming to our camp to ask questions. At first, we were wary of them, but soon we realized they were genuinely interested in learning new ways they could coexist with their forest. So we started talking, and it became big. I don't know what tipped the scales in the end, the press, the international attention, the local interests coming together, our passion. The talks weren't easy. Of course they weren't. Why would it be that easy? Finally, an agreement was within our reach, but the talks weren't easy. The state forests, the woodworkers, the local population, ecologists, scientists, activists, everyone wanted something. I was by no means an expert, but I wanted to play my part in the proceedings. I made sure the talks were fair. So I decided to observe the talks and make sure everything was okay. Both sides could use someone unbiased with an analytical approach. The talks went on and on. Of course, I had my opinions. Everyone at the scene had their own opinion and their own point of view, and I had mine. Let's take the bark beetle. In the middle of it all was, of course, the spruce bark beetle. How could something so small cause such a gigantic uproar? The beetle had always been a part of the forest ecosystem, pointed out one of the ecologists. Starting to do the thing where you look at a word and it stops looking like a word. But the recent droughts made the spruce more susceptible than ever, the foresters countered. We have to cut down the trees to stop a total disaster. Saw one problem with this approach. They cut the wrong trees. They were cutting down trees that had already been dead. To stop the spread, they'd have to target trees that were freshly infected. Their approach was just ineffective. We fetishized the forest, scoffed one of the officials. People cultivated it for hundreds of years, and it cannot survive without our help. He's right. You want to take our forest from us? A group of locals attacked the activists. You're not from here, and you tell us how to live our lives? Yeah, they unbalanced the ecosystem. The problem was that human intervention unbalanced the ecosystem, and if they pushed it any further, they'd lose all that made the Pushcha unique. Opinions clashed, tempers flared, but eventually new constructive ideas started to emerge. At least one of them caught my attention. The whole area should be a national park. There was a recurring idea to make all forests in the area a part of the Bioviso National Park. The logging would be impossible, but there would be much more money from tourism. It was a long and hot day. I rubbed my eyes. I was so tired I could barely keep them open. My head was spinning. I hid in the shade because I gotta take care of you to get shit done. I hid in the shade of the trees and watched the proceedings. The talks continued. Of course, they had to make it dramatic. There were cameras, there were lights, and the negotiations lasted all day long. We reached the first draft of an agreement, literally at sunset. I had no doubts they'd only decided to stop the logging because they realized there was something in it for them. I felt relief. But at the moment, I just looked at the sky and laughed. I felt overwhelming relief, and then my exhaustion caught up with me. I found a quiet spot and sank to the ground and fell asleep. Epilogue, quiet before the... Oh, God. Which seems quite amusing when the final chapter is the storm, and now it's the quiet before the storm. I'm sorry, where's the storm? But, okay. What the fuck? The next morning, cheering of the crowd woke me up. Really? Why is there a fire vibe? I don't like that. It was a victory, after all. We'd won. Pushcha was safe, at least for the time being. People were excited, antsy, full of emotion. If the loggers hadn't left, I probably would have charged at them. I'm glad we avoided open conflict. We'd avoid a battle, which I considered my greatest victory. Still, we all needed to blow off steam, so we partied. Soon we were all dancing, talking, singing, and in some cases, making out in the shadows. I had to stop someone from making a fire. I mean, for fuck's sake, we were in the middle of the forest during a drought. But my friends didn't join in the festivities. They just sat on the logs, looking at the humans with weary eyes. I joined them. I found my pack. We sat in the shadows, far from the humans. Look at them, sighed Cornell. Loud, messy, stupid. Tomorrow this place will look worse than if we'd let them do the logging. A little bit of a killjoy. Yeah, loud, messy. I mean, if they came back to themselves, it'll be fine, but... Look on the bright side. The trees are still standing, I smiled, and we'll pick up the trash tomorrow. I'm not here to pick up their trash, he growled. Well, nobody said it would only take one battle. Today we won. He smiled faintly, and maybe the humans won't ruin it that fast. Yeah, I believe. I want to believe. I smiled, satisfied. Time would tell who was right. Under the trees, we gathered in the clearing in which I'd first woken up as a Garu. Lisa stood in the middle of the clearing, the wolf and the weasel by her side. Now, she said, looking at Cornell and Olga, you two, you need to solve this. Today. Olga nodded. There was determination in her eyes. I didn't always agree with you, Cornell, she said, but we could use your skills right now. At night, we voted. At night, we voted. Our sept was divided, that was a fact. Olga and Cornell both wanted to prepare us for the future, but their methods were impossible to reconcile. They almost fought, knife and claw, but we couldn't afford more deaths on our side, so we voted. I mean, I'm sorry, but literally, you know, he's my pack, he's my bud. Cornell. My vote tipped the scale. Cornell never forgot that it was me who made him the leader. I was the leader. Lisa and our patrons made sure that we did right by Garu law, and the sapped matters were resolved. But more had happened that summer. I don't doubt that one. But it didn't cover everything that had happened that summer, though, so some consequences would have to unravel with time. Daniel introduced me to the wolves. Oh man, we get to meet the wolves. Later, Daniel introduced me to the wild wolf packs living in the forest. We'd spent a lot of time with them searching for the lost Garu cubs we hoped were out there. Anya was alive! Anya was alive! Oh, now she's down to neutral. Despite everything that happened, Anya managed to get out of it all alive. She laughed a few days later. We would like each other's posts from time to time and talk in the comments occasionally, but the messages became scarcer and scarcer, and one day I noticed she'd stopped following me on social media. But it was all still ahead of me. For now, the first chapter of my new life was coming to an end. I'd come here to learn about my roots, and that we did. Achieved! Go, mystery! I dug my hands deeper into my pockets. My family had fought the humans who'd invaded the forest for generations, and now there I was, making pacts of non-aggression with the loggers. Was I a traitor, or was I the one who finally got it right? I like to think the latter option, but that's a big question. Your story is almost over. This might be a good time to take the last look at your character sheet. I'll take your hint. Young guy, not yet of any significant rank. Well, my honor's pretty fucking high. But of course I had this strong. A long time. And joined us little friend. I stopped logging. Daniel's friendly. Family, it's complicated. Kid, friendly. Now loyal, he's so cautious. Neutral pet, friendly, he's still loyal. Yeah, okay. The clearing was empty and full of sunlight. The harvesters were gone, leaving the scars of their tracks behind. People were cleaning up the campsite, making plans to turn the temporary protest site into a permanent tent town. I took a deep breath. The air was sweet and smelled of coming rain. The upturned soil smelled of turf and the sweet aroma of decay. There would be a storm later that day. I could feel it. A faint, sharp layer of electricity surrounded the wetness. I smiled. I liked my new sense of smell. "This is not the end," said the weasel. "I assume you know that." I sighed. Of course I knew. It was just a momentary break, a truce that both sides needed to regroup and reinforce. "Yeah, I know," I sighed, looking around. I had something else on my mind. There was a squirrel somewhere. I could smell it. I wanted to chase it, to run, to feel the thrill of adrenaline rushing through my veins, but I couldn't spot it. Sneaky squirrel, it mocked me from the branches above, squeaking curses in its squirrel tongue. I couldn't see it, but I ran anyway. An old friend! My arms and legs cracked and twisted. My changed shape. Fragments of bone crawling with the skin. My skin was rippling and sprouting fur. I growled and thrashed. Then I was a wolf, seeing the world in smells and sounds, part of a pack. The perfect animal. So I just ran for the thrill of it. The end. Okay, things didn't go catastrophically wrong at the end. That makes me happy. You have finished Heart of the Forest. Cubs gather around the fire and listen to the story of Maya Borodich, known among the Garu as Mist of the Children of Gaia, Philodox of the Winter Weasel Pack. Her judgments were always honorable. Maya managed to negotiate a fragile peace and stop the harvesters, but would it hold? The first protest against the logging of the Biowalviza forest took place in 2016. The game was loosely inspired by those events. Of course it was, because of course they logged the big old forest. All characters and events depicted in this game are entirely fixed. Of course, yeah. Well, we did it.
терпел, я отрывал, я шагу подставлял и воссиял по борьбе. Больше шаги, только цвет, господа, не срывал, словно зло отказал. Час пришел, час настал, стал я ты, кем я стал. Это моя дорога, это мой волчий знак. Я не вернусь додому, хай состоится так. Это моя дорога, это мой волчий знак. Я не вернусь додому.
was quite, I'd say short and sweet credits, but considering it's, you know, more visual novel than, like, game, yeah. A lot less, character modeling to do, I suppose. Oh boy. That was a fun. Like I said, I think I would replay that at some point in the future to explore other options. Watch me accidentally make the same choices and just get the same outfits. What is with... There was a point, at some point today, where my brain just walked out of my head and went, good luck, see you later. Just looking at my achievements. Yeah, half moon, you're a full dog, sky is judge. You judged someone and found them guilty. Rainbows and unicorns, you found your place in a peaceful tribe. Negotiator, you stood for the peaceful solution. An old friend, you were a good friend to the person, but I just wish Bartek could, There's plenty of other achievements for all the other options. There'd be a lot of, why do you do this? Why do you exist? I don't even know. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it would be slightly longer. I'm not complaining, like, I feel like it was a nice, like, length. It did not overstay its welcome. It did not force itself to go on. It just told its story, and that was that. I just really did think it would be slightly longer. Oh, hi, Cold Moon. We just finished. We did a piece. We succeeded. And then got taunted by a squirrel because apparently, yeah, sure. Oh, me? Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, but hey, that's what VODs are for. / I mean, you know what happens. It's fine. It's fine. Jeez, man, no, what? Basically, right? Right? I have a really bad feeling, because I was going to say maybe some Dead by Daylight for a bit, but I have a really bad feeling Dead by Daylight has an update that I still have to... Yeah, do. Dead by Daylight, could you, like, stop having updates quite so frequently? Oh, come on! So does Phasmophobia. That was going to be my plan B. How big's the DBD one? If lag happens, just bear with. Ishmol. I'm not gonna be. Oh, come on. Why are you... What? Why? What? Island, everything. There's the part where the download was small to download, but then there's the part where it's installing. It's going to take a while, so yeah. So, of things I have installed that do not currently require an update. How about that? Me, like, I'll just play a few games of DBD, you know, for a little bit. That'll be fine. Whatever. Ha 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 ha. And did I mention ha? mm. What else do I got? It's not quite the same vibe, but we could play a little more Man-Eater, but I feel like that's, I'll spend more time lost in that. Like, that might not be the small that I seek. This is the point where it just takes me the amount of time that I would spend to play a thing to pick a thing. Yeah, happy to report that the campaign I discovered is amazing so far. Ooh, the one you posted the title sequence for. It did sound intriguing. Oh, do I have this installed? Is that a little? Yeah. I'm looking for something that isn't super duper, like story super duper based, because I don't want to get into things. This is a great little, like, remembering what I actually have installed, though. Oh man, we really gay. Oh, what about what? Hang on, has the back rooms? Because that was the free edition. Have they like made the thing proper yet? Okay, I think I'm potentially flipping a coin between the back rooms and Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion for general rolling around, running around spooky places, seeing how long and how far we go. Oh, that reminds me of Spyro. We need to play more Spyro. There's so many things I need to play and play more of and go back to. And oh dear, what's the world next door? Oh, it was that. Oh yeah, that game was good. Damn it. Escape this. I saw Slime Rancher in my Steam library, and then I because of that I remembered that there's gonna be a Slime Rancher 2, and I'm kind of fucking hype. Oh, hey, are you the game I think you are? I might save that more for next week. I have some very Christmas themed horror games that I think I'm gonna save for next week, but because next week's literally the week of. Just, in case anyone else is like, what the fuck time? Which of course you are, because that's why it's a freaking, oh yeah, people keep saying this, shut the fuck up type of statement. Into the depths of my Steam library. Now, is that there because I haven't played it since 2016? Damn again. Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna go with Spookies just because, well, I like Spooky. Literally for a theme, and Spooky's a cool ghost. Spooky's a cool ghost. Gotta, actually update the fucking stream things. Even though it's slow burn, I think it's well worth checking out. Because you asked me, it's much better than actual official Vampire the Masquerade campaign. Oh, that is high praise. Very high praise. Like I said, I would be an intrigue in general, but I'm also like, I'm already procrastinating watching so many things. But maybe one day, play loose games. This game contains flashing lights, violent content, and potentially disturbing material. We hope you like it. And I sure as hell do. Oh man, I need to make it the thing. Spooky, 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 spooky. There we go. Let's continue. I finished this the last time we played. Obviously my save is there. Could do endless mode. Room 200. Could be an intrigue. But I'm like, there's also all the other coming eventually. But hey, we got Spooky's Dollhouse, so that's the thing. Those two are modes I still have to play properly, but I'm also like, I don't know. I want to like replay it all in one. I'll probably replay it eventually for YouTube or something. I don't know. Well, let's continue endless mode because I don't think I have sound. No, I do not. Because why would I have sound? I have not launched this game since before I had this specific setup. What am I looking for? There we are. App volume thingamabob. Spooky, 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 spooky. Hello, Spooky, please go through wavelink. That would be greatly appreciated. And see if it actually does. Hell yeah! Yeah, luckily the first season only 11 episodes, and they're not too long. That is not so bad. Bunny. Cuteness incarnate. Love incarnate. Abandon incarnate. I want to boop the bunny. I want to boop the bunny. Okay. I keep trying to jump, and it's like, I can't jump. Make like a tree and die. Caterpillar. That would be trees, absolutely. I see it. Oh, I do, I see it. Okay. This is great. It's 200 in endless mode, but I think it'll be fun. And by that, I mean, what could go wrong? No, really. What could go wrong? Also, I'm kind of intrigued because there is character from introducing some ghosts. Ghosts, first up is Edgar. Aw, it's kind of dreary. Next, Mary finally came out of her shell. Go meet Mary. Third is Bram, and he's stoked to be here. The married. They were puns. I know everyone's been waiting for it. Spooky herself. Those were all puns. All the writer puns. I get it. It took Bram and stoked before I was a cunt. I was like, wait, Mary, shell. I see what they did there. Edgar. What was I saying? Oh yeah, which we play as Spooky, and I win because whatever it is. But yes, right. Endless mode in Spooky has white face from game I played on YouTube for Halloween-ness. Was it just called I Am Scared? Hello, fishies. Hello, fishies. Hello, fishies. Hey, where's the fish? Outraged. Hello, fishies. Hello, fishies. I don't like that sound effect. I'm going to... Welcome back, Aru, Cold Moon. I'm just running through rooms, wondering if we'll run into White Face. Hello, fishies. Hello, fishies. Fishies, you have a little spooky's mansion. I love that for you. I love spookies. It's like the perfect combination of, you know, kind of adorable. Eventually, actually gets kind of spooktastic. It's still, you know. It isn't all the adorable paper cutouts. Being at like room 10, I'm not even sure what to. I mean, I'm not sure what to be expecting in endless mode anyway, but I'm especially not sure what I'm expecting because I'm like, I don't remember what we already had. I don't remember 200 rooms. I probably did this, I'd say at Halloween, but probably like Halloween last year. Because I tend to just dust this off every day. Are you the one that gets faster if I, or are you the... I think you're one of the hospital ones. I'm not familiar with you guys, so, Your chase music isn't quite as catchy as, scream inside my brain, begging me to eat it again. Hearts and blood and violence oil I must consume to enter what? Soul wiggles. My soul wiggles! Get back me! Wiggles! Jump scares, always. Specimen, always. Room 223. Cannot submit score. Save the start on an old version of Endless. Oh, I'm sorry, there's... Well, let me make a new Endless mode save. Jeez. Anything of interest? Maybe that's where we come out from. Take axe. Got axe? Kind of rude not to. Okay. Just sneaking through the back. I got it. But yeah, Mr. Green Goo, I can't remember. Is he like specimen 1, 2? No, I don't know. He's just specimen 2? I think he's specimen 2. Like, I know he's this, like, first proper specimen, because the specimen 1 is the cardboard box, but, in, like, main story mode. And he's cool. He got cool. I like his chase music. His chase music gets stuck in my head at random, even if I haven't played recently. Wiggles! Oh no, they have... They said... Could you imagine if they did? I'd be very sad. Cannot wait for my somber character in tabletop to be like. I see dead people, like that kid from that one movie. Slumber literally can see ghosts going about the business. I just imagine my character to troll another kindred in reference to... Oh, yes. Please, that would be amazing. Aha! Yet again, I have cheated the grave, and shall proceed to escape these confines. While the thought of my death being quite romantic did cross my mind, I believe my escape shall be profusely more so. Cool, I think you are follow-up notes. Or maybe the same notes, I don't know. From the main game, like the same guy. Hello, brain. Boop. A boop a doop a doop a doop a doo 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 doo. I guess that's where I came from. And things like that are why I get very, very dead sometimes. Because sometimes you run towards the wrong door and you don't get to escape the enemy that's chasing you. But luckily for me, I didn't do that when I was being chased. Hey, more fish. Which makes me more the curious, like, I mean, it's all random, isn't it? I think it's random. I have more experience in the main mode than in endless mode, so I don't know for sure about anything. If you'd asked me before this stream, I would have thought I hadn't played endless mode at all, so that's how much I know. And remember... I mean, don't get me wrong, game, I appreciate the first several rooms are, you know, not exactly a hazard. But come on, even give me a little pop-up, a little cardboard cutout of something. Please. Please. Just wait until I suspect, until I'm like so used to there being nothing that I'll actually get startled by one of the cardboard cutouts. That's what you're doing, isn't it? Isn't it? I think that's what the game's doing. That's what you're doing, I bet it is. Boop. The music did a change. When somebody asks why the hell do you have pitch black eyes, holy fuck, that's disturbing. Meanwhile, I'd be like, oh my god, you have pitch black eyes? That's so cool. Can we be friends? And that's when I'd probably get murdered, but you know. But yes, I see dead people. Oh. I picture it beautifully, and I love this. This little deadpan just sits with I see dead people. More fun when it's a skull, but all the bones move. They move. More of the fishes in here have noticed me mentioning the tanks. That's hype for them. Have a good day, fishes. Have like the best day. Now, does endless mode follow the same as aha? See, this is slightly less. The bones, they move. Shoot. Well, that's unfortunate. See, that's still. But, yeah, no words. I was saying, does endless mode follow the setup of the main mode? First saves at room 50, I believe. But yeah, I think my general vague plan is I'm gonna keep with spookies, jump scares, or lack of them so far, until like the stream hits the 3-hour mark. I let them to kindly fuck off. Partly because I need to shut the fuck up, and partly because I intend to get some present prep done tonight. I have some people that I'm not sure when I'm seeing them, so I'm like, I need to have things ready to go. Said you did a jump scare, but guess what? It didn't scare me this time. Flashbacks to when you really got me in phobia with it. appreciate the deadly deer almost as much as I appreciate their leader, friend, amigo. Now I have 2 axes. I ordered them up. That means we gotta go through here too. This is the point where I'm just like, now please remember, I watched Bambi and I felt bad for the deer. Please don't mind me. Oh God, please don't mind me. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Go, quicker. Go, go, go. Well, goodbye. What's this? Key. Thank you very much. Let's go through the other door. Boom. That squeaky ass. Oh, hi, you. Goodbye.
Your flesh will sustain my children.
Flesh, sustain children, yeah, you know. Good old people eating deer, you know? I've heard of man-eating tigers. I've heard of, at least fictionally in games, man-eating sharks. I'm sure there's a few here, but I'm like, I don't want to add sharks unnecessarily with that.
Why do you run, child?
Gee, why do I run from you who wants to eat me? I can't imagine why. It's almost like somehow, my tiny being, I have some kind of sense of self-preservation. I know it's a shock. But I do love the creepy cloaked deer fucking chasing me to go on. Like, look at them, they're so cool. And they're skeletal and shit.
Why do you run, child?
I run because I want to live. Don't read into that too much in real life. No, I will not fucking submit. Don't you subliminal message me while I'm running from you. That's rude. That is rude. No, oh, why were you flickering red? I don't like that at all.
Your submission is inevitable.
I will read if you chat when I'm not being chased by a slightly angry deer.
Why do you run, child?
Dear God, monster thing. I don't remember the classification of that specimen. I don't remember its description. It's been a while since I've read the files on another of my favorite things in the main game. Might still be an endless, I'm not sure. But you can usually come across a computer and you can read about all the specimens on it. That's great. Oh, am I good? I think I'm good. Had my first bad takeaway today. Don't order off, so yeah, it's wrong. No! Oh, I hate when that happens. And that's even worse when you don't. Well, like, maybe not worse. Because it's bad if you order regularly. You're like, excuse me, this isn't the standard I'm accustomed to. But it's also bad when you don't order regularly. Because then you're like really looking forward to it. And it's like your rare treat. And it sucks. I got so mad. That's fair. Oh, man. I just get sad at that point. I just go, welp. I eat bad food I just don't like. I swear, food has too much emotional power. But yes, one of the superpowers is to make their eyes pitch black in order to see in all types of darkness, both natural and supernatural ones. But also creates an effect of being able to just ominous sound effects. Okay, see through the plane of the first layer of the underworld. So while you have those eyes active, everything around you seems a bit off, as that's just what Shadowlands is. Apparent identical replica of World of the Living, but upon close inspection you realize something is not quite right. Mechanically, it just means you can see ghosts going about their business as if you're in actual Shadowlands. I like that. I like that, and I like the ghosts just going about their business being... Do they ever notice they've been seen? They had no contact number as well, so I was like, what the fuck do I do? Pressed a refund and got it. No contact number, that's bad. Glad you got the refund though. It's like, don't mess up your food and maybe you can keep my money. Yeah. I'm going to go this way. Because that's a bone. That's not a door, and you're not a door. Meh. I should have stuck with left. Hello, skull. A door! Excellent. No. No. No, don't do the weird grainy thing. Oh god, you're locked. Wait, is this the room that's... This was such a surprise that there would be another entry. Another actual entry. One I could admire. But then as suddenly as it came, it left. And now you disband? Your influence and inspiration will never leave you. Because this is the room with... This is the room with the... No? It's similar enough. Is it not the room with the harmless jump scare one? I'm going to correct me, yeah, I'm going back to Sword elsewhere. Like, I will not be back. Ooh. I hope Elsewhere did wonderfully, though. Let me out! Hamble, let me out! Hamble's like, I have no power over the game. What if Hamble did, though? What if Hamble's secretly controlling everything? You know, he got the little puppet strings. What you can't see is his tiny little puppeteer thing. You know, it's tiny because it's got to fit in his little nub, so you never notice it. It's just there. In control. There we go. It's just a matter of keep going. Hug your panic. Hug my panic. Oh man, I'd already forgotten about that. I am so glad you remember that, Coleman, because that was funny. Just, you know, holding my panic. Oh. Hamble may or may not be a secret agent of chaos. Listen, the amount he was scrolling on my keyboard earlier while I was trying to set things up, there's no may or may not. He is a little hungry agent of chaos. I like your shirt. Thanks, I like it too. Oh. It is a cool shirt though. It even has the same, like, the spine is on the back of it. Love it. This has been quite a chill trip in endless mode. I know I'm only in room 77. I know that I got nothing in the room 200 I'd somehow gotten to. I say somehow. Like 200, yeah, I can make that. I'm not even, like... It's just the fact that I didn't remember I'd played endless mode before. And then I had to save, and I was like, oh, I guess I had. Yeah, how's it going, Zephdorf? How's it going? I need to stop constantly running down my stamina when I don't need to, cause it's going to bite me in the butt big time when I run into a specimen. Oh, that's where I came in from. There were two directions. Go fucking figure. Okay, through the door. One and only door. That is the one and only option. And once again, look at the little mention, the little fish tank. I love that. I love that little detail. Fish. You know, give the fish a nice home. Yes. Hopefully there's a specimen filled. Okay, just a chair on the right, so we will go to the left and be grateful that we're not being chased, because I hate these rooms when I'm being chased, because, you know, you got to go all the way up, go down, and, you know, things are just getting faster behind you, and you're like, I think right. Have I fucked up? No, I was right. Oh, have you watched Titan? Just started watching season 3 tonight. Just finished it, and all I can say is called it. Watch Titan. For clarification, because all my brain is thinking is Attack on Titan, I'm like, do you mean that you're shortening it, or do you mean something just called Titan? Titans. Yeah, no. I'm going with no. No, I have DC stuff. Oh, that makes sense. I am actually aware of this. I don't tend to watch a lot of DC stuff. Partly just because I never got as into DC as I did Marvel, and partly because Marvel's enough to keep up with, oh boy. Is it good so far, though? Speaking of this, I need to go back and watch more of The Boys. Realizing shows I've slightly abandoned. But I won't feel bad about that one, cause that has more to do with watching with people previously. 66 or so, what is in that one? Do you really want to find out? Yes, there is, and I don't remember. Really don't remember. The main game, it's 1,000 rooms. So, yeah, you get your 666. I'm in sad with a 2 games not loud. Ooh. Thank y'all. Oh, Canada, do you have? When the audio is already half, why are games so loud? Don't know what exactly that's for, but I'll take it. Yeah, game's too loud. Thank you, guys. Is that any better? Do you want me to turn it down lower? Yeah, how's that? Bit lower. Okay. Wait. Yeah, because it didn't quite, like, apply instant. I think it might be okay. Awesome! Room 100. Save. Okay, having that timer is actually going to bother me just because I'm like, yeah, moving thing on my screen. Meh. I appreciate it's an option there for people to, you know, are paying attention to how long it takes them to... Look at the little hedgehogs. Now you're cooking with hedgehogs. But why are we cooking with hedgehogs? And why is one of them not blue? If I was cooking with hedgehogs, I'd have food diet and we'd be making Sonic cookies. With no actual hedgehogs, thank you very much. But look at them being adorable in the fucking tray. Tiny bit lower, just a smidge. A little teeny tiny bit lower, you'll say? Okay. How about like to 20? We see if that's enough. Apply. Say not Sam, it was Sam. I mean somebody's Sam. Probably actually backing multiple somebodies. There are many Sams out there. What if one of those hedgehogs is named Sam, you know? You don't know. What if they're all named Sam? Just a little tray of Sams. Hedge Sams, Sam Hogs. This moment, oh, I like the window with the rain and the sky and the yes. I was gonna say, no, in this moment is the one of the times we go, and that is why they don't let me name things. Hey, the hedgehogs are gonna be fine. They're only sitting in the tray, okay, Sad? Nobody would actually bake the hedgehogs. Right, guys? Don't make me have to find you and, like, very aggressively but gently take away a tray of hedgehogs from you. Hey, a purple bed. That's neat. What happens in room 666 stays in room 66. I must get to room 66 to save the hedgehogs. This is my new life goal. Hello, Moosey. How are you doing? We finished off Heart of the Forest, so I'm just having a chill time in some spookies. Jump scare mention. I am still filled with vigor after my experience the other day. My hunger and thirst have both left me, leaving me with nothing but distilled romanticism. How did that go? I wish I could climb the ladder. Nice half and half shirt. Thank you! It was a cool shirt. I've had it like forever, but at some point in the process of moving, I actually rediscovered, so it's actually in the rotation of things I actually wear. You're back. Let there still be chaos even when I'm gone. Oh, I'm sure there will be. Now even the monsters and other incorporeal beings seem to be deterred from attacking me. They do notice me, it seems, but they don't act as imposing as they once were. Clearly due to my renewed romantic determination. God, I wish I could remember the notes in the main game better, because I'm just like, I know all your notes were like, ha ha ha, romantic, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I don't remember anything. We finally got the cardboard cutout. It only took to room 117. Endless mode. I know you're endless and you're probably pacing it, but main mode would never. Look at that tooth. Can I boop you? Because anyone who is not familiar with spookies, it's literally the main game, the main mode, just starts off with all the little cardboard cutouts and they're all adorable. And eventually you get actual specimens that can actually do things, and some of the cardboard cutouts are a lot less adorable. It's great fun. Great fun. I say, vaguely twitching while thinking of the puppet guy, the puppet specimen. He's annoying. Oh hey! Oh yeah, sometimes the cardboard cutouts have notes. A strange ghost girl appeared before me today in a rather upset and unromantic manner. She claims I am not doing my job and that I should report to my commanding officer immediately. I boldly stated that I have no commander as I drift wherever the wind takes me as I follow my own romantic journey. To this she acted confused and slowly sunk into the floor. You know what, Spooky? We may not see eye to eye on some things, but I can get behind that reaction. I think I too would do that if someone said that to me and I was capable of sinking through the floor. Though if I was sinking through the floor, capable of sinking through the floor, I think I'd do a lot of other things, like leave awkward situations. I realize that's an awkward situation, but actual awkward situations. I would be real lazy on stairs. Oh boy. Now that's probably about it. I don't think I'm missing any other perks if you could sink through the floor. Obviously she's a ghost. She's not limited to the floor. So other rooms and shit, yeah. Hey, Mr. Deer Dude. You aren't even waiting for me to find your deer. Which is fine because this is endless mode. There is no order here. I run because I want to live, Mr. Deer Dude. Please don't call me child. I don't want to join you. You're getting off Dead Space, make us whole vibes. And I don't like it. Fucking hell. Was the deer always like that? Totally not a distraction! Cold moon, how could you? Except, I can read that quicker. Haha. Distraction. I'm not even being chased anymore. Ring, 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 banana phone. Hello? Hello? Don't need no phone anyway. This is making me want to replay the whole like story again, though. Thinking about the mansion part. I'm not familiar with this room type. I don't know if this is from the hospital or maybe it's from the Spooky Dollhouse bit because I haven't done those. I've been watching you for a while now. Who was the ghostly ghost that said that? Who's watching? Okay, that phone is. It's fine. It's fine. You know, don't question it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. If you keep saying it's fine, it'll Oh, hello, another note. Oh, you're a little faded slimeroo. You think you're clever, don't you? No, I think I'm of perfectly adequate average intelligence, actually, game. I'm a humble little shit like that. Ooh. Let me read the fucking... Watching for a while now. Well, thank you, little slime monster. So some random ghost. Who is that, Hamble? Well, if you mean the who? You mean the cardboard pop-ups? Do you mean the ghost? Kinda looks like you're panicked. You little slime tentacly monster? I mean, I can see in the general, like, round vibe, but, do you feel safe? What is the meaning of this? This is where Hamble is just behind the whole setup. Imagine. You think it's all spooky, but no. Reading these won't help you. Only death can help you. I don't think death would help me either, thank you very much, game. I think I'm going to, right. Reading these won't help you. Stop with the repeats, man. Words. Yeah, I'm gonna make it to room 200 and then it'll be just like my other save of Elvis mode. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I think you are something to do with the hospital because I'm not familiar with you. You seem to have the same... You don't move at all if I'm watching, apparently. But oh boy, do you catch up fast. Stop that. Yeah, I can see it. So, I mean, notice. Ow. Yikes. I mean, notice how a bunch of them start popping up as soon as I said, is that Hamble? Hamble's like, no, not me at all. Why do you think this is me? Look, it doesn't even look like me. Nope. Distract with more notes. That's a Hamble tactic. Yeah. I can run backwards. That's hype. You thought you were gonna hit me that time, didn't you? Didn't you? But no. And still she follows. I am reminded of the little, like, I don't know if it's from a newspaper comic or just whatever, but a little, like, comic art piece that's just, like, it's captioned something like, and yet the monster exists, or yet the whatever, and I don't remember. I can't remember the wording, but it's, like, they persist, and it's not favorable wording. And it's literally a stork, like, you know, like a baby delivering stork, like, harassing some women, that's it. But I'm just thinking it because I'm like, my brain's just like, and yet she persists. Stop hitting me like that. Probably don't hit me at all, baby, because no. No, thank you. I did not sign up for that. Oh my god, let me through a door. Ha, 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 ha. Didn't hit me. Ha, 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 ha. I would really like to find that door. Will you please leave me alone? Is it still like 10 rooms in endless mode, or is it... Don't remember what room I encountered her in. I don't like this. I give it. She is fucking. Wait. How long have the rooms been saying 1-5? I just noticed that the last few rooms. No, now we're 1-5. Okay, her chase thing was all one big room because it never went up from 157. And I didn't notice that. I mean, it did go up, but then at a point it didn't. But yeah, we got away. She wasn't so bad. Oh my god, the bright ones. Thank you, game. What was I gonna say? Sister is. And she's not so bad, you know? She's not as annoying as the puppet guy. She's not annoying as the one that when you get a certain distance, like, goes into fucking speedy worm mode. There's a whole variety of specimens in this game, and they're all beautiful. In their own ways. Ew! You're adorable! Are you a little slime squid? Slime cat? You kind of said mew, so I think you're meant to be a cat, and it's just the ears are like, and because that looks like paws and all, but I'm just like, oh my god, you're adorable! Are you a newer? Are you endless mode specific? Do I just not come across you in that? Because that spider sure do. That's a classic cardboard cutout right there, Hamble. Hamble's just like mew. I mean wink. That would be Hamble right there. Hamble's not a cat. Hamble's like, it's not Hamble. Hamble's not a cat. No. Hamble's not a cat. 30 more little rooms and then I get to finally save. And that makes me very fucking happy. Kinda want to run into Specimen too, just for his chase music. It's not so bad. I remember, he sticks out in my memory the most because he's in the main game, he's the first, like, actually hostile specimen you've come across. And again, the chase music. And he's the one that leaves the puddles to slow you down. And he's cool. Simple but cool. Just keep running, just keep running. I associate these slightly more red-tinged rooms with the certain. You think you're clever, don't you? No, I do not. Don't worry, gang. Don't worry. Your blood smells so thick, I can hear the vessels oozing. Well, good for you. You got real good hearing, huh? That's nice for them. Why does he have some epic metal guitar solo? I don't think it's just. Do you feel safe? No. It's just a little. It's just a simple like. Maybe I could look like a It's just a little tune that gets stuck in my head, and I just have a fondness for it. Why even bother filling your lungs? Because I want to, and I'm ballad AF. Thank you very much, you sad little note writer. Somebody's a salty little salt writing these notes now. Do you have one too? Why really? Because my lungs deserve the best. Thank you very much. Maybe everyone got too carried away there. No, I should probably spend slightly more time outside. Oh, look who it is again. Seriously. Seriously, I don't like that fact at all. Okay. Oh. Stop it. Stop it. Guys, I don't like this. I don't like this. Go. And spin. Wow. I'd say I wanted it to be a different specimen, you know, more variety. But I bet if it wasn't her, it would have been her. Very similar mechanic. I'm assuming also from the hospital DLC. Fucking friend. So I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, whatevs. Is what it is. At least I know what I'm doing, because I have now actually encountered you before. Okay, 1, 3 is where you're getting us stuck. I see. I don't like that. Where did she go? I like the walking backwards then open prompt. I know. I mean, you know, it's just literally going behind them, just being like, you should make it work, depending on the door, you know. Leave me alone. I don't wanna die. I would like to live and maybe live my best life. Definitely more suited to push doors or very easily awkwardly open doors. I appreciate these long and straight hallways. I slightly less appreciate these ones. Stop being so rude. I need to turn around fast. That's what I need to do. But I can also wait for my health to be a little better. A little better. A little bigger. A little bit of a full bar. A little. Okay, door. Just look for the doors. They are my friend. Because she most certainly is not. No, she is not my friend. Can I please have some progress? I just want to see room 194. Oh my god, thank you. Yes, room 194. If I could crouch or something, I'd pretend to kiss the floor. What room seems to be? Yeah. Something about her chase sequence. I'm not as familiar with her though, because I think she's from the hospital mode and not like the main game. New room indeed. And now we get to save. Old recycled art. You saying the cactuses? Or GL Labs. Okay. It's not quite. the hedgehog baking tray, but it's a nicely enough decorated room. Because every same room is an elevator. What can ever go wrong? Do. But yeah, like I said, I was gonna get to the room 200. We have saved, and now I'm kindly going to fuck off out of this beautiful mansion. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It is beautiful. Oh man. Like I said, do I kind of want to replay it for YouTube now? A little bit. Do I want to know how much I'm going to hate editing that? No. Oh, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Yes. I'm doing a think. Like, we call it a little night here. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get some present prep done tonight before slinking off to bed. Bad dogs are screaming for help in room 666. Said no! But why 5-head, Moosey? What was I saying? Words. Yeah, social media. Twitters, Discords, gaming YouTubes, it's all there. Considering I still have not actually decided if I want to actually switch, because thinking is hard. If I actually want to switch Fridays to Thursdays, because I've been debating that for like the last month, but I'm at the point where I'm like, this is probably just me being extra tired because fucking Christmas, yeah, and I'll probably be fine after, so I'm like, yeah. In saying that, it is also December and I don't know what's going on with the various people I need to meet up with to like be like, take your present, go. So I'm pretty sure we're streaming on Friday, but like if things come up, you know, it could be tomorrow or things will happen. Discord will let you know, but for now we're sticking with the schedule of Friday. Sitting tight is going around. Extra tight is going around. And it's valid. Your panic, aka Humble waits in room 666. But he's right here. Does that make this room 666? Are we in room 666? I don't like that. Where's my present? The glasses redemption thing is your present, said. Its continued existence is your present. Next time. Could you imagine though the plot? Oh, yeah, could you imagine? I don't know, man. I don't know if I like this story. The plot does thicken. But once again, terrifying, but intrigued. But I paid for that with my channel points. No, you paid to redeem it. The gift is that it's still there to be redeemed. I don't know. Words. I also don't know what we're actually going to stream on Friday. It could end up being another Dead by Daylight stream. My friend gifted me the Pinhead, the Hellraiser chapter, so I'm like, otherwise, again, the various games of, you know, recent updates like Phasmophobia, maybe Forewarned, you know, I'm like, maybe these multiplayer games that I would have to think about, maybe. Otherwise, out of the very, very, very various games that I have mentioned in the past month of being games that I want to play soon, it might be one of those. Space Cadet Pine Ball. Pardon? Look, I made a mistake. Just started uploading and now there's so much buffer. Oh, that's a mood. I hate when I do that. I F and rip and ow and ooh for you. Yeah, I think I know where we're going. I think we are. Oh, actually, yeah. Before I do the raid, I do want to show you that. Listen to chase me. I wanna show you this chase music. Phasmophobia is fun. It's wonderful. Someone give me subtitles for shrimp. Well, guys, F and F and F for you. Lucy, I love you. Of course that's not even fucking playing. Hang on. It's a little more tense when you're actually in the chase, but you know, it's just chill. It's just chill. What? When Seteron is like, regret asking for subtitles. Pardon? It's okay, bud. It's okay. It'll be okay. You didn't miss anything important. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, yeah. So, Friday. Games. Stuff and things. Spooky or otherwise. Oh man, there's options. Also, heck, we might even get started on some of those more Christmassy themed horror games if I actually remember to look at my Steam library and see how many they are and actually work out how long they are and be like, gee, how many streams? Yeah, so you're all awesome. Thanks for hanging out. I'm hyped for whatever the fuck we do next time. We're going to raid my good friend Blaze, Scarlet Blaze Games. She do a lot of Rocksmith. She's currently doing Rocksmith. And she do games, usually of the horror variety and often a Resident Evil. Giving me a home if only brief. It's okay, Moosey. You can sit here with Hamble and you'll always have a home. You'll just have to deal with Hamble constantly staring at you like this. It'll be great, I promise. I don't know, but oh man. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your days, nights, evenings, tomorrows, etc., etc., etc. And you know, boop your nearest plushie.